Good Monday morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Who is ready to get us started with a win from the weekend?
Got an offer accepted first thing in the morning.
Hey, you can't be getting offers accepted. Was a multiple offer situation, Martin, or what's a
No, thank God.
long time on the market property? Or
Yeah, I was out in the Berkshires.
okay, okay. Anything that you did unique to get it accepted?
Not really, no.
No, just had good, solid clients, wanted to make an offer. You didn't have to push them at all.
No.
No, just this is an easy business. Yep, just had some clients and they wrote an offer. We got it accepted. Easy. Okay. Who else got a win from the weekend? Go, Hiram. Let's go.
So, at an open house this weekend on one of my new listings, and I get a call from a past client just based on staying top of mind to that client. And she reached out to me to set an appointment for me to go meet with her to give her some tips on some of the uh, less cost-effective home improvements that she can make in the house. And then she wants me to sell it. She wants me to list her property and sell it. She wants to go to Florida. So that was a big one.
Nice, nice. I think maybe round table, I'm just making a note here. We should talk about what are you guys saying when they say, oh, what are some quick little improvements that I could make that'll add some value to the property? So I think that's a good discussion topic. So let me see if we can circle back to that one. Anybody else want to contribute to a win? Haley.
So I have two listings coming to market. So one was actually they were both personal referrals. So one is it's a really big property. It's 8 acres in Wales, Mass. And that's a personal one. And we'll probably list it, I don't know, a couple weeks. And then this other one in Suffield, which I'm very grateful for, is coming. We're getting pictures today, and again, open house Saturday. So it was pretty good weekend.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, we are in a little bit of a weird spot. We'll talk about this now before I kind of get into the messaging for today with timing, right? So we do have a spot right now. If somebody would come to you about selling their house, we've got school starting, and it's going to take you a week or two to bring that property to market if you're doing it the right way. And it's going to take 30, 45 days for the thing to close. So we're getting really tight if people want to be in before the school season starts. So it's definitely something to be thinking about. I think this is one of the probably more critical, like if you're trying to time it. We talk about the holidays and we talk about just in general listing around a holiday, but the start of the school season, I'd say, is one of the ones that I think there is a real effect there. I don't know if anybody wants to comment or add any color to this one. Any thoughts around it? Any tips or tricks or things that you're telling your people when you're listing around this time of the year? Okay, well, just something to keep in mind for sure. We can't not pay attention to that. I'd never want to rush a property to market. That's the last thing that you want to do. But this time of year, I think there needs to be some urgency, especially if it's a family home. If it's not a family home, maybe there's not quite so much urgency. The messaging that I had for you guys today just took some time over the weekend. I don't know, did 30 or 40 one-on-ones over the past week. I'm going to wrap up still a few more today, but just kind of some of the lessons learned along with one of these, like the paradox of learning and training. I put the offer out to our top 50 agents to do a one-on-one. And the higher up the top 50 that you get when you do the one-on-ones, it's almost like those are the people that are looking for and constantly doing more training, trying to learn, trying to get better. And I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the imposter syndrome, where it's almost like you feel like you're not good enough, so you better go learn and train more so that you can live up to who you think you are, or maybe who other people think you are. But it's interesting that people that really need the training, that really need the lessons, that really need to be on this call, that really need to be on Crushing It with Kirk on Friday, aren't there. And so I think, if you're on this call and you don't normally come to this call, or if you guys are on this call and you know somebody that, they say they want to make it, they're not on this call, they're not on the script and role plays, they're not on Friday with Crush It. Do they, are they really doing the things? Because those are the people typically, it's like we're preaching to the choir a lot of times on this call with stuff that you need to do. And it became very evident, I think, over the week of one-on-ones, that these are the agents that are actually taking advantage of all the training, the support, the systems, the process that we offer here, and that's why they're having the success. So I don't know if anybody wants to just comment on this. I got a couple more things on this topic, but has anybody had just a shift in their mindset with regards to training, or how you approached it? Did something change in your life when you decided to take it a little bit more serious, or are you the person that really needs the more training that's not doing it? Anybody have any thoughts here? I think part of the issue when it comes to the training is being worried about failure and maybe not seeing the results. I had a couple of agents come to me and say things like, I wasn't comfortable doing all the phone calls with everybody around me, right? As I'm looking for, hey, how do we improve this brokerage? Hey, can we get a scenario where I could make the calls, but not with people listening? I think some of the AI training that we have now, dialing into some certain numbers, I think that stuff is definitely going to help. I think they've got right now built out 10 different scenarios where you can just dial a phone number and the AI is going to give you some feedback. It's going to challenge you as much as you want to be challenged, beginner, intermediate, difficult. So that's going to allow for, some training maybe where you're nervous about what others are thinking. I think also going in with a mentality of failure. I think we're still, my wife and I are trying to find something that we can do together. So we've been messing around with some pickleball, and over the weekend she just wanted to go to the pool, and my son really wanted to play. And my son and I and my wife and my daughter had messed around one other time. So I took him down to the pickleball courts, and I've played a lot of racket sports. I've played tennis. I've played a lot of ping pong. I went to Trinity College down in Hartford. They were the national champions for like 15 years in a row at squash. And now I'm playing a little bit of pickleball, and it just comes a little bit natural to me because I've done a lot of racket sports. And, I can just see the frustration when he can't do what I can do. And I had to pull him aside and have a conversation that we got to go into this knowing that you're going to make, hundreds of mistakes today, thousands of mistakes in your life when it comes to this. And and even after, I think we played for like 45 minutes, we had that conversation really early on. It's still, you can see he was struggling to understand why he couldn't do it. And, as I was reflecting back a little bit on this call and how do I talk to you guys, I think it's very similar with our agents. I think they get a little bit intimidated and almost like they'll never get to that level. And so they just quit. There's a couple of times where he was ready to throw the paddle and he was ready to quit. And he missed a shot or something. And it's like, I was expecting you to miss a few others that you got to, right? And so just trying to give words of encouragement to him when he would hit a good shot. And, we work with our leaders on this stuff of trying to do that positive reinforcement or the positive pressure. Because I would say another interesting thing, I'm always, I see your hand, Corey, I'll get to you. Let me just finish this thought. I always struggle with the accountability that we have at Roby, right? So obviously I ran a traditional franchise for 8 years, and there was no accountability because we weren't handing out leads. We just kind of signed people up and said, hey, here's some training that you can take. I wish you the best. And we didn't hold agents accountable to anything. They were just all out on their own. And here, there's a lot of accountability. And I know for a fact that it's that level of accountability. And I heard it from you guys, when I would ask, how do you feel the accountability is here at Roby? And I was curious to see if anybody would say it's too much. Guys, you got to leave us alone. And it was I don't even think anybody said that. I think a few agents said, hey, I thrive on the accountability. If you could actually ratchet up the accountability, I need it. This industry is difficult because we're off on our own so much. I was used to my other job where I had somebody looking over me. So, I know it's difficult for our leadership team to figure out the right level of pushing people, but man, I was hearing, the agents that want it are not going to complain about the accountability. They're going to thrive on that. Corey.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to your pickleball example, and conversely, the experienced agents or the ones who have been here a while are being successful. A lot of times the training is a little elementary for them, right? So they back away from it. Just like your son, you're not going to teach him trick shots or spin shots when he's just learning how to hit it, right? So there's got to be that counterbalance as well.
Yeah, I think, there wasn't really much. I mean, we do so much damn training here. And to be honest, I think we do too much training. I think we have too much support at times for sure. But the reality is, I mean, once you've got the basics down, can you learn a little tip or a trick or whatever? Yeah, 100%. But for the most part, the successful agent to the agent that's just kind of making it or getting by, the difference is the number of conversations that they've had, right? And we've got to push for more conversations. When you look at the top agents in any marketplace, they've been doing it for 15 or 20 years, right? And you're coming in as a brand new agent. You had 100 conversations last week, and you're trying to compete with an agent that's had 100,000 conversations over 15 years. You've got to get those conversations up. You've got to get the reps. You got to listen to other people do it. It's why we have the trainings that we have. But, I think if you talk to any experienced agents, after 7-8 years, that I think you're really starting to hit your flow. But 7 or 8 years, not first or second year, and that upper level training, there really isn't much. I've taken all the training. We bring it to you guys. And I think sometimes agents think there's another level of training. There isn't. Get better at your conversations and have more of them. Maybe a little bit, some marketing things that you guys can do. But the gist of it is go generate business, have conversations, put yourself out there. That's the biggest piece. Do the follow-up. I was talking to an agent that, I took a note on some of the things that I want to change on the way we're doing it. I was talking to an agent who had, I think 7 closings already. He's been with us for I think 6 months. So doing really good. And, all company business. And I said, hey, we've got to try and change this. You've got to start to do more personal business. You will burn out if you're just going to work leads forever. The leads should be a supplement. They should get you going. It was great that he's gotten this point, but we've got to, we're looking at year 2 for him. We've got to figure out how can we at least get, if we're going to do, I think he was on pace to do 12 in the first 12 months, and he wants to do 24 in the second 12 months, right? So can we go and make it like 16 leads and 8 personal in those second 24 months or the second 12-month period? But it was interesting is I said, hey, on the 7 that you've closed, what do you have set up to try and generate more business? We had a task set up for the call on the 1-year anniversary. It's just not enough, right? So that tells me either he's not hearing the message, we're not delivering the message hard enough as leaders. I mean, a phone call on the 1-year anniversary, you guys are not going to do personal business if that's the follow-up plan, right? The reason that we've got the monthly events and giveaways is I think you got to touch them every single month. On a new closing, you got to call 1 week in. Hey, what's going on? How's the property? When's the housewarming party? Do you want me to help you with the invites? Can I bring some pizza? Can I bring a couple of bottles of wine? I want to meet all your friends, right? That's this business so that we can make the transition, to go from leads based to more personal. It is extremely, I told most of the people in the one-on-ones, I've yet to see somebody that can come in and make a full career out of this based on their sphere alone. You can do it on your sphere alone, but it's not going to be a top producer kind of year. So you've got to knock down leads while you're working your sphere. It should be a supplement and they should go hand in hand. What are we hearing? What do we want to chat about? We're kind of at the midway point. Any other thoughts on this piece? I mean, for the Rovi agents that we have on, super grateful for the week. I got 30 to 45 minutes of your time from a lot of agents, a lot of good insights on things I think we can change, we can do better. So I'll be working with the leadership staff this week to kind of talk through some of those things and letting you know where we think we can make some improvements at Rovi. So really, really grateful for the week that we had last week. And I think a lot of people just being vulnerable about what they're feeling, what they're seeing, how they're doing. We've got to remember the past 2 years were 2 of the most difficult years in real estate. And what I mean by difficult is just not a lot of transactions. A little over 4 million happening across the country in the last 2 years. This industry is typically operated on over 5 million per year. We're 1 million off. That's a lot less sides to be had for those that want to go and get them. Let's switch to a real estate roundtable. Who's got something going on, a deal that they need help with? Maybe something that you learned on a transaction that you're doing. Who's got a weird scenario going on? Well, let's talk about Hiram's situation, right? You're at a listing appointment and they're asking you, right? One of the reasons that I think that you guys, when you're trying to get listings, and you are talking to a potential seller that says, hey, no need for you to come out now. I'm going to be waiting till the fall to list anyway. You've got to get in that house now. And the number one reason, in my opinion, why you've got to get in now is to talk about what can we do to get this house ready. I see too many agents that they go on a listing appointment and the person wants to sell their house and we're going out on Tuesday and trying to bring it to market on Thursday. And we're trying to get top dollar. That is a big rush job, right? Very few houses are going to be, in that kind of position. So get out there now. Hey, no problem. That's awesome. Most of my clients call me a week before they want to come to market. This is awesome. We got 3 or 4 months. Let me come out to your property. Let's talk about what improvements, changes, staging, etc., that we can make to the property between now and then. You don't have to rush through it. You got all the time in the world. Take your time. I'm so glad that we got to talk now, but get out there now, right? That's the language that you've got to use to get out there now.
So my seller, I have a condo that's gone up today. And her question was, do I really need to put the carpeting in to the condo? And I said, Well, if you want, if you have people come in when there's no carpeting, you're not going to get the price you want. So yes, put that carpet in. And she
So
took my,
are you talking you had unfinished floors, Sue?
yeah. So she bought
It
this
was plywood,
condo.
was it plywood or something?
No, it's some concrete because it's first floor of the Mulberry
Okay.
house.
Okay.
So it's all concrete, and it didn't show well. And I said, yeah, you need to put carpeting in there. She wanted to start high, and I said, well, without carpeting, you're not gonna get the price you want. You're in the 85 to $90,000, you know, price range that you're gonna get for this condo. Without carpeting, you're gonna get less. So she took my advice and she hired somebody to put the carpet in. So she'll probably get what she wants for it, or close to it.
Yeah, things that look unfinished for sure would be on my list of things that I would be talking to a seller about. Yeah, we should do that when I'm trying to make those decisions for sure. Lauren.
So, couple factors, right? So, you're depending on like price point can really sort of vary a lot of this as well. But one of the simple things, and when we have people asking us for advice, a lot of times they're hoping we're not going to come inside and say, you need to rip up all these bathrooms, you need to replace this kitchen, right? Things like that. And just reminding them that sometimes it's the simple things that are visually going to be appealing to people to draw them to your property, right? Usually pictures are the reason people come in. So, and then once they're there, so things like fresh paint, right? If you have not painted your house in 10, 15 years, if you've lived there a long time, or even shorter, fresh paint job is incredible. Neutralize kind of everything, make the space welcoming so that people can envision themselves. Things in the yard, like plant a couple flowers. Um, some of those like smaller things can actually have a bigger impact than if somebody goes and redoes one bathroom and ignores kind of all these other things, right? Still have lime green walls in bedrooms. It might have a less overall impact. So just, finding out what their goals are with time frame and motivation of getting out are going to be important as well. But it doesn't always have to be, you need to fix all of these things in your house that are not pretty before we come.
Yeah, I want to just double down on that part of your statement, which is I know for a fact we've lost listings because we told them they had to do all these repairs. Right. So before we decide the repair list, we've got to have the conversation is, hey, if we were to spruce the property up a little bit, we can get a few more bucks for the property. Is that something that you'd be willing to entertain? And just be honest. Hey, some of my clients just say, I'm selling it as is. I don't want to do any of this. I realize I'm leaving money on the table. That's fine. Right. So gauge how much they want to do, or, make sure they understand you can help find the contractors. They might have the money, but they don't want to go through the hassle. I don't know anybody, this, that, the other. Right. So these are the deep conversations that we've got to have. Are you willing to spend some money? Do you have money to spend? What kind of time frame are we under? And now if we know, hey, I'm willing to spend some money, but just a little bit, okay, here's some little bit of sprucing up we can do. Or, hey, I'm willing to do whatever you think. I just want to maximize this. If I'm going to put 10 and get 20 back, let's put 10. If I'm going to put 50 and get 75 back, I'll put 50. You tell me. So we've got to understand, what does that seller want? So cool. What other thoughts with regards to what are you telling your sellers when they're asking you, what do you think? Let's say the person says, no problem. I've got money, whatever you want. I want to maximize. What are you having them do? And how are you making those decisions? I think one of the key things to think about when this comes up is for the financing, right? Is there anything here that's going to prevent us from not being able to sell this to any type of financing? right? Obviously, FHA, VA are some of the things that I'm thinking about, right? Down in Florida, you're seeing a little bit more cash. Maybe that's not as important. In New England, we're definitely doing a lot of FHA and VA. So if we've got things that we don't think are going to go FHA, those would be some of those things I might put on the list, right? Let's make sure that everything just kind of works. It doesn't have to be, you know, first rate, but it's got to work. I tell you, one of the things that's, we've talked about this, where when you buy a car, what is it called when you certified pre-owned or whatever car, right? We've talked about this product that we have at Roby that I think a lot of times if somebody's willing to spend some money, that certified like home type of situation, I think is a pretty interesting way to approach it, where you would actually do a home inspection and fix some of the things that you find at the home inspection. Because here's the problem, and you might not get any money, but you could potentially lose a lot of money if you don't do this. And so this is the conversation that you should be having with the seller. So here's a scenario where you lose a lot of money, right? Because just fixing up all the knickknacks that come up at a home inspection, not necessarily going to make you, you could spend $5,000, $10,000 fixing up all the little things that a pre-inspection finds and not get that money back. But here's where you could lose some money. And for the right seller, when you explain this, they're going to say, I don't want to take that risk. So here's the scenario. We come to market. We've got all the energy going. We're the shiny new object. We got a multiple offer scenario. We get the top guy to come up maybe 10 or 15 more than anybody else. They outbid themselves. They do the inspections. There's a lot wrong with it. They get cold feet. They back out. So now we're 3 weeks on the market. We got to come back to market and we don't have the buzz anymore. Buyers 2 and 3 have now moved on to another property. And here's where we can lose a good amount of money. And they're minor things. $5,000 would have fixed all the stuff. But a lot of times what the buyer's mentality is, oh my God, if this, and this are wrong, what else is wrong with this place? Right? So when you're doing your listing presentation, I would be having that conversation, just throwing it out there. Hey, some of my clients choose to do this. Here's why. I'm not saying you're going to get the $5,000 back that we're going to spend, but it's it's kind of like a little bit of an insurance policy where I do believe it could keep more people in a deal down the road. So, most of this game is about educating the client. It's not telling them what to do. It's just educating them on what their options are and then letting them make, the decision. Any questions around that strategy? Hopefully that makes sense. Anybody else just want to chime in with things that you feel like, how you make your decisions when you're telling them what to fix? All right. Well, good start to the Monday. Appreciate you guys. Let's get back at it tomorrow. Have yourself a great start to the week. And yeah, let's put some deals together. All right. Take care.
Have a good one.